You know what I've been actually noticing? So I just I got one of those like dash apps recently, and the dash app gives me a lot of information that I normally wouldn't be able to see unless I'm cycling through all the views, which you never really do when you're fully racing because you don't want to lose your focus. And one of the things it shows me without having to cycle through all the MFDs is actual engine temps. And even in the game, if you're following someone, you can't use like rich too much because then your engine overheats, and once it's overheating, then you're losing power. Right. So imagine those guys in the real thing. Something like that. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that must be really hard, tough to difficult. And on that note, we're at a high-speed circuit where it will be tough to follow somebody. So we're now at. I mean, there are a lot of sections here where it's going to be really tough to follow because you need a lot of downforce. So let me. Not, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you need the straight line speed for the straights, but you also need to be able to go quickly around the really high speed corners. So setup is going to be key. I agree there. So let's see, who do we have? Exactly. We have Hot Boy in provisional pole, 126.4, Spark Bugs with the 127.152, Roman numerals 127.2, Rusty 127.4. I expect these times to drop, but talk to us about Silverstone then, Razor. I'm joined by Razor, everybody. World famous. And what would have been the champion in Tier 1, but sadly he had to step down because he's got real life stuff to do. But yeah, what it... Exactly. Exactly. What are the keys to this circuit? How do you get a good lap time here? The placement of your car has got to be millimeter perfect, because if it's not, then you're not going to be able to get on the power as quickly as you need to compared to the competition. And like you mentioned, that means any moment that you have to wait to get on the power means you're losing 2, 3, 4, 5 mile an hour, 10 mile an hour down at the end of the straight, and that could mean the difference between staying ahead or getting past. Right, right. Yeah, and it's not just Maggots and Beckers, but I think Maggots and Beckers is the best example. You have to line every single one up. It's like 4 turn-in points or so, 3 or 4. And if you got to turn in perfect, because then, yeah, you got the next one following right up, and then the next one follows right up after that, and then you have a long straight. So any little mess up there, and you're going to be losing massively in terms of the lap time. And if you're, getting hounded by a ton of cars behind you, if you make even a little tiny error there, you're going to get past and you're going to lose a lot of positions. You're going to lose out a lot, and that's the guys will be trying to get that again, like we've been saying, millimeter perfect here in qualifying, because qualifying's half the battle. So on that note, Monkey Pill, he sneaked in a great time. So 125.7, yeah, Spooling with the 126.2, Hot Boy still at a 126. Well, I think he did improve. 126.4, Grumpy did 126.4, Vapor 126.7. The field's pretty tight so far. So Orioles just put in a nice lap for P3 so far, 126.3. As it looks like, who is that? The Red Bull of Spoolin jumps into the pits. Rusty heading back out there. So he's in 7th. I'll be looking to improve that, as he just got jumped by his teammate, Vapor. Is it? I wouldn't know. I'm still waiting to see what that feels like. One day I'll hook up a good lap. It doesn't really happen, for me at least. Yes, I'm on, let's see, who am I on with? I'm actually still with Orioles. He set a lap, I think he's backing off into the pits. He's in Sucker 3. Yeah, he's jumping into the pits. So who else is behind him? Joe is out there on intermediate tires, I think. Oh, he's in the pits. I think the next person to cross the line is going to be Cheeseheads. He's starting the hot lap. And then behind him is the car of, is that Rusty? I think that's Rusty. Yeah, Rusty behind him. So we'll check my in back with these guys, because we've still got Vapor that's coming behind him. Well, I think that becomes apparent even in the early laps. You know, even though the times are going to continue to get faster and faster with track evolution, I mean, we're already seeing it. You know, Monkey Pill's got great pace, Spoolin's got great pace. Orioles is someone that you can never write off, because he's just, the kid is quick, and there's no other way to put it. I think Grumpy also has the potential to put it on pole. But it's going to be tough to say, as Hot Boy just puts in a 126.1, so it moves him into second. The TESD, Monkey Pill's teammates, was put in 10th. Monkey Pill starting a new lap. Oh, Razor, by the way, you need to set your party chat to be shared. I don't think anyone can hear it. Yes, so if you hold the PlayStation button, go to Party, and then go to Party Screen. And then party settings, and then allow your voice to be shared, put it on always allow. There we go. And then God said, let there be sound.
Yeah, because I checked the broadcast settings before. That explains so much. This is not the first time I've had.
We're off to a great start, everybody.
Apologize for that, guys.
Thank you for the heads up, everyone. I think Spit Check and Yup, you were letting me know. Alright.
Spit checking my former teammate Yup out there.
Yep. So what is happening? Looks like everyone is jumping into the pits.
Did Monkey Pill finish his last lap, or did he just hop right back in?
I think he invalidated and jumped right back in.
He invalidated.
Yeah. Let's see what is going on. All these people up in here. Yuppie's in here. Suzuki's in here. What's up, guys? Spitchick's in here. Shep's
What
in
a
the
better way to
house.
start your morning than to watch some PRL Tier 2 racing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great race. We still got plenty of time still to go and qualify. I think some of the fastest guys are going to get into a little bit faster than the 125s.
Oh, you thinking some 124 action?
I'm not sure about the one. I don't know if we'll see the 124s. It's possible if some of the guys hook up a perfect lap. You know, it's very difficult to hook up a perfect lap, so we'll see. But I definitely think that we'll see a few tenths quicker. Joe finally on the soft tire. I was wondering what he was doing on those intermediates. So
You know, you never know. Sometimes rain just hops in out of nowhere in Great Britain.
Yeah, you never know, rain. And then he's all of a sudden he's looking like the hero. So let's see who's up next. So JH is up next. JH will be the next one across the line. So I'm going to stay on board with him.
He's already improved 3 tenths.
Yeah, he is 12th at the moment, the 127.3. If he improves by a couple tenths, he'll jump 2-3 spots. So
that's what I think is amazing. And once the difference between season 1 and season 2 is that the racing and qualifying times are much, much closer. And he goes right up into P9.
yeah, 127.0. Great lap. And he can still improve too if he hustles back into the pits. We'll see if he has enough time. So let's see who else is out there. Vapor is out there in Sector 3. He's gonna start a hot lap, so this one is not his timed lap.
Bullen's coming right through into Sector 3 right now in his hot lap, it seems. But I think he invalidated, actually.
Yeah, he did invalidate, so we're on board with Spoolin. So I wonder what he does here. Does he jump back into the pits? He does. He will put on another set and then just get ready to get out there in the last seconds.
Yeah, I think it'll cut really close on time because the biggest, one of the most difficult aspects around this track is, you know, honestly how long the pit lane is.
That too.
It restricts the strategy to one stop, and any wing damage will really, really hinder somebody's race.
I appreciate that this race is a one-stop though. It's like, oh, what's the strategy? It's soft to medium. Oh, so you're telling me like the strategy isn't going to factor in too much to the race? Nope. It's basically who's ever's quickest.
Yeah, that's what I like. It's Silverstone. I think of it like Monza and Spa. Where
Exactly.
A lot of just down to the driver and
Right.
how fast they are around the track.
Everyone would be on a
less
similar
about
strategy.
Right, exactly. It's not quite like, you know, Singapore or Hungary where you can sometimes see a digression in strategy because of the tire degradation.
And don't get me wrong, I love those races as well, but I think those races are very mentally taxing in terms of like thinking of what do I need to do? Do I stop? Do I pit? Do I stay out? I think it's a lot to think about.
Oh, 100%. You know, a little known secret throughout my time racing and PRL was that I actually had a quote-unquote racing engineer help me out throughout most of the races.
Oh
just
boy!
to help offload all that strategy and decision making.
I would hope if you were doing something like that, then you wouldn't tell me. But yeah, I guess anyone could technically have someone watch the race and let them know what's going on. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, it really helps with the mental aspects because, again, like you said, trying to cycle through all the different strategies, especially when you're trying to drive, it becomes very taxing.
The thing is, when you don't have that, then you don't have that experience of it yourself, and I think it's valuable to be able to learn that experience yourself just in case you need to. Like, this track actually is a good example.
True.
So this track is a good example at one of my league races here, and let me make sure, I feel like I'm missing everybody crossing the line. Cheesehead's starting a lap. I think Sparkplugs is going to start a lap. And who else is that behind him? I think that's Roman numerals. So he put in a 126.3, so he's up to 7th. Yeah, but this track is a good example, even if it is a monkey pill just crossing the line. Even if it is a one-stop strategy, soft and medium for the most part, if there's an early safety car in lap 4 or 5, you can utilize that time where everyone's going slowly to jump onto the hard tire, and that's actually would be the prevailing strategy in that situation. So little things like that, but it's kind of hard to know that unless you've experienced that and don't pit, and then you end up later in the race figuring out, why was I so much farther behind the hard runners when I was on the mediums? It's because of strategy.
Right, 100%. I think that's where experience really does speak volumes. Is only the person who is aware of how the tire degradation works and tire strategy and is experiencing themselves can really come up with the best strategy.
So, I don't know, this is not a good sign, but I see Alex Albon in the session in a Red Bull. Hit 15th at the moment on mediums. And gainful odds went off in the final corner.
Oh.
In the Williams.
Oh, Monkey Pill right now is up 2/10 on his hot lap coming around in sector 3.
Sparkplugs improves by half a second. He's up into 4th.
Wow.
Great lap. I'm on board with Monkey Pill.
See as he crosses the line.
Wow, 125.4. He does improve by a few tenths.
What a lap.
Yeah, great lap.
And Spool and Dub right now is going through Magnuson Beckett's. He lost about 700 through sector 2. Maybe he can make up some time.
Oh, that's not what he's not going to want to see that, but maybe he can improve. JH crosses the line. He does improve, so he's up into 7th. Nice lap from JH. Orioles next across the line. 3rd, 126.1. Yeah. Spoolin next. Spoolin's up 10th and a half, I think. And he's up into 3rd.
P3.
Wow. So he bumps everyone else down.
He really gained just 3 tenths in sector 3 alone.
And what does Alex Albon do? He jumps into the pits. Yeah, PRL is growing bigger and bigger by the day. We even have some former F1 stars racing with us now. So let's see, U-Top's crossing the line next. And he does improve, but it's not good enough to improve his position.
Monkey Pill with a commanding time. 4 tenths ahead of the competition. Of the next fastest person.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really great lap from him. I think that's everyone.
That's just about everyone, yeah. Wow. P4 through 6 separated only by hundredths.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a race.
I think this will really...
Oh, so I guess it was Gowie login in the car that showed as Albon.
As Albon.
I don't know why that is. So let's see who's all up in the chat. Adam Suzuki said a good lap for Roman. P7. Grumpy, yeah, saying that the Red Bull is Gowie. Suzuki said Albon joined. Better prepare for Russell and Norris. Watch out, guys. But yeah, apparently Spittrack disqualified in the session for some reason. I'm not sure what happened, but he's going to have to start from the back of the grid. So it's a really, really tough break for Spittrack.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be too happy about that. But like we mentioned earlier, this track really does come down to the driver. This is his time to really prove himself, I think. See what he can do.
So apparently, yeah, Gowie had just got disconnected. So that was the reason that it was showing Albon driving for him. So let's see, what weather do we have here? You think it's possible we see some rain? It looks like a little bit of cloud.
Cloudy.
Blue skies, though, behind. Well, I guess there's technically always blue skies even behind the darkest clouds. So that's not really helping much.
Optimistic point of view.
Right. Don't worry, everybody. There's a tsunami coming, but there's blue skies behind. So yeah, once these guys get out there, we'll do a quick grid rundown to see what the championship point standings are, because it's going to be quite the championship battle here in the last stages. The real tough thing is that we have Nico John, who's 3 podiums so far this year, so really consistent. 3rd in the championship, and he has to miss today just due to some personal family stuff. So Nico John will be losing ground in the championship fight. But yeah, Grumpy and Monkey Pill. Grumpy's actually first in the championship with 183 points in the Ferrari with 6 podiums, 1 win. But Monkey Pill's just behind him, 166 points. If my math is correct, that's only 17 points behind. Monkey Pill's in that Renault. He's got 5 podiums, 1 win this season. And yeah, then we have Nico, like I mentioned, in third. And in fourth, we've got Spool and Dub in the Red Bull, 128 points, 4 podiums, 3 wins. So the talent's pretty stacked in tier two.
Oh, 100%. And with the amount of podiums that we see in the front runners in the championship, it's just a testament to how important consistency is in good performance, and also having that championship mindset to, uh, to not be as risky in the races in hopes of preserving your lead or your
Right,
position.
right. I mean, I think we see that in terms of the experience. If you look at, even in the real thing, you look at Lewis Hamilton, who's on his way to, if he wins the championship this year, he would have 8 total, right? He would beat
Yeah,
Schumacher's, yeah.
the world record.
So, so you saw in turn one at Spain
Oh
how
yeah,
he was kind of getting squeezed out. The inexperienced person says, F it, I'm going to try it, but he
you
backed out of the
keep
move.
it right. He
He,
had the championship in mind.
right, exactly. Because otherwise, they probably would both would have wrecked out. And losing 25 points like that, like he ended up winning, that could mean the difference between being ahead and falling behind.
Yeah, and I can really see, the real life F1 season coming down to a DNF. If one were so unfortunate to experience one like Max or Lewis, I can see it coming down to losing out within just one race like that.
100%. 100%. It can just come down to just a few points, but the same thing's going to apply here, right? Because if you're in turn one and you get into an incident, now you've compromised what would have been your one-stop strategy. Or if you pit and then you're racing a little too hard after the pit stop and then you bust your wing, well, you already had your stop, so you can't afford to do another stop.
Yeah, I think it's really imperative to keep it really clean around here, especially racing around Silverstone.
The thing is, it's tough because then you have different corners like I forget exactly what it's called, but after that first sector, when you get into the first DRS straight, and then there's the left turn and then the right. I think it's like
Oh yeah,
Brooklands or something. That
yeah,
one's
coming
really
out of Brooklyn to Luffield.
yeah. So that one's really tricky because if you go too wide into Brooklands, it's very very tricky to get it right, and sometimes you could have someone that comes across you not intentionally but try to make the corner, and that could chop off the wing. So it's got to be careful. Anyway. Listen to me, the old man. Be careful, guys. Be careful.
The infinite old man wisdom.
Exactly. So, again, we'll do a quick grid rundown. Monkey Pill is on pole today. Great lap for Monkey Pill. Great pace lately in these last few races. Can he convert the pole to a win? So that's what we'll have to find out today. He starts in first. He's second in the championship. Then we got Grumpy right behind him. He's first in the championship, but he'll be trailing today. Does he have what it takes to stay with Monkey or to get by him?
Again, this is where the consistency and patience has to really come into play. One wrong move and one broken.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually going to invite Roman numerals real quick. I'm not sure what's happened to him. Bear with me as I send him a couple invites.
Turned 15 with sector 3.
Yeah.
I recall last season, I was defending against Proj, and super unfortunate, slight contact caused him to spin out, and that's all it takes in a high-speed circuit like Silverstone. Just one slight tap.
Yeah. Well, you have to think about how fast you're going in that corner too. You're probably pushing 140, 150 miles an hour there. So any little touch and it's going to severely just, you're either going to spin or you're going to unsettle the car and lose a lot of time. But let me just quickly run down the rest of the order. We got Spoolin in P3, Orioles P4, Hot Boy, Sparkplugs, Cheeseheads, JH, Roman numerals, AlphaTauri boys together, and the McLaren boys 10th and 11th. Joe, TESD, not sure what happened with Gainful Odds, but I think he'll be in 14th. Then we have Gowie, Utops, and Spitcheck. Here we go. Round 12, British Grand Prix, Tier 2, and they're off.
Oh,
Grumpy gets a great start. Oh, but Monkey Pill, he leaves him room.
He sneaks it right through Nabby. Oriole's also making up a place into P3, overtaking Spool and Dub.
So Rusty up 5 positions. What a great start from Rusty.
6 now.
And Orioles gets past Grumpy.
Wow, Orioles up into P2.
Great start from Orioles. Spitcheck up 7 spots since the start. Unless this timing board is wrong, but I don't think it is.
It's amazing stuff by Rusty. They're going up 6 spots.
Yeah, Rusty's been on fire lately. Yeah, Rusty
now, the thing is, Monkey can't let the start get to his head in the first few laps. I know how easy it is to get shaken up, knowing how vulnerable, being reminded how vulnerable you are in opening laps.
So Grumpy, that flat-out right-hander, I believe it's called Cops, I think.
Yes, Cops.
Yeah, so Grumpy going a little bit wide there in Cops, but I think Monkey Pill sees that the guys are kind of fighting behind him, and I would imagine he's using a lot of ERS to try to get away right now, because, yeah, ideally he wants to get out of that 1 second DRS range, but Orioles and Grumpy are no slouches.
Yeah, I think this is where they're going to really have to trust their pace. You know, that's what I have to remind myself a lot of, is to trust my pace, and that you don't need to push too much. You don't need to risk spinning out.
Right.
Just trust that you are fast enough, and that the dirty air will help defend your position.
So let's see what is happening. I think the timing is bugging out a little bit. Should fix itself here in another lap or so. Who are the closest battles on track at the moment? Let's go check in actually with Gainful odds. He's chasing a Red Bull of Gowie, I believe.
Yes, Gowie.
Yeah, so he's in 13th at the moment. Yeah. Looks like Gowie's locking up a little bit. So nice little battle here with Gainful. Gainful, one of our newer reserves, so always fun to get some new guys up in the mix. So we have essentially like 3 packs of cars now. We have the lead pack as both Gowie and Gainful go a little bit wide in Cops. So we have a lead pack of like, 10 cars, a couple cars by themselves in the middle, and then 4 cars behind them in the back. So I'm not sure what's happening with Roman's connection, but he keeps disconnecting.
It's so easy to go wide in Cops, especially in qualifying when you're going flat out. But in race trim, whenever you have a higher fuel load,
it's tough.
Perhaps higher downforce for some.
Yeah, the car feels completely different compared to the qualifying session. So I'm on board now with Sparkplug. Sparkplug's in the 8th. He's trying to chase down Vapor. It's only a few tenths behind.
So it's really important to stay close. Try to get the DRS, especially coming out into Brooklands, get a good exit.
And yeah, we are on lap 3 now, right? So I believe the guys will have DRS. Yes. So he said DRS train has commenced.
All aboard.
Oh, and who was that that's off? Who was that that's off? That's U-Tops.
That's a Ferrari. Ferrari U-Tops.
Does he have wing damage? He does have wing damage.
Oh,
so
he's really tricky.
He started on medium, so he was going long.
Yeah, what's really tricky about starting on mediums around here is that you just have a lot less grip than the surrounding drivers on softs.
Right.
And especially when you're following a dirty air, driving on with lower grip is not
right.
helpful. Yeah, there's the damage.
So that's completely thrown his strategy, into the spanners, because now he's got to pit. So what does he do? Does he go into the hards, or does he commit to a 2-stop? I don't think 2-stop's viable. Oh, and Gainful's making a move with DRS on Gowie.
Oh, they just sticks it right around
the outside. Great move from Gainful. What a move. Good stuff.
Going around the high-speed corners like that really takes the cooperation of both drivers.
It really does. So shout out to both of those guys. It takes 2 to tango. 100% right. Cheesehead's picking up a time penalty, just going so slightly wide there, but paying the price for it, unfortunately. But this is a great battle for
track penalties.
Yeah, great battle for P5 here. Rusty and Cheeseheads.
Rusty, after making up 6 places, trying to hold on to the P5.
So Yuppie saying, cue the DRS train. Correct. Cheesehead's making a move down the inside of Brooklyn's. Yeah, nice move from Cheeseheads. So I think Rusty can see that Cheeseheads is going really quick, and Rusty picking up a time penalty as well. That's a tough break for Rusty. So the top order is still the same. We got Monkey Pill in P1, Orioles P2, Grumpy in P3, and Spoolin just behind. It looks like Grumpy is falling back a little bit from Orioles. Now he's 1.3 back, so he's out of the DRS range.
Yeah, when you're in a position like Grumpy's, where you're running the last podium spot and you're starting to fall behind of the leaders, with someone chasing on your tail, it makes me think back to I think it was Mick Schumacher, probably other drivers have said the same thing as well, where you had to look forward, you had to race going forward, don't look back, otherwise you go backwards.
Yeah, you do. As soon as you lose the focus on your brake points, your apexes, when they get on the power, you start losing time. Just because you're too focused on, you're not focused on your own race. Yep. So this is a great midfield battle from like 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. They're so close.
Yeah,
and who else? Looks like, who is that? Is that U-Tops? I think he was just backing off to let some people by. So
yeah,
U-Tops U-Tops having a tough day. And Spitcheck retires. But his car is back out on the track, so now his car is gonna give people DRS and interfering with the race.
Looks like Rusty is gaining ground back on Cheeseheads as Cheeseheads goes a little wide coming out of left field.
Oh, and I thought Spitcheck's car was going back out on the track, but it's not. Okay. So I'm missing some of that action. I'm gonna go now on board with who am I gonna go on board with? I'm gonna go on board with Orioles actually. Let's check in with the battle for the lead. Orioles is now only 5 tenths behind Monkey Bill. He's got the DRS. Can he catch him?
Yeah, right now Orioles is suffering from a 40% ERS deficit to Monkey, and that's something that's so easy to do around Silverstone is just churn out all of your ERS, and it's really hard to recover it.
And it looks like Sparkplugs made a move on Vapor, so that's Sparkplugs up into 7th. Sparkplugs in the Haas split in the McLarens. Great job from Sparkplug. Orioles with the fastest lap. Let's actually check in with that battle with Vapor and Sparkplug, because that one looks like a really good battle. See, one thing about this weather, though, it is a little bit cloudy, so it's going to allow these guys to really push on these soft tires and extend that life a little bit with the lower temperatures.
Yeah, so do you think we'll see some rain? It doesn't look like it's getting any lighter right now.
I don't believe so. I don't believe we're going to see any rain.
Unfortunately.
So Taggart asking if we could take a look at J8. Sure, let's check in with J8's. Assuming that the guys in the lead are not. Yeah, okay, never mind. Let me go to JH real quick.
Yeah, the Alpha Towers are really running their own race right now, just trying to maintain a solid points position.
Yeah, but both of them are in the top 10, so they're doing solid so far, and they still have 20-something laps to go, so not a bad spot to be in. I'm going to actually go on board with Orioles, because he's now on the straight. They're trying to make a move on the DRS, but not quite close enough. Yeah.
And where would you say are the prime overtaking opportunities around here?
It's really just it's really just at the end of the DRS straights. Really, you just get as close, stay as close as possible through all the twisty bits before that, and make sure you have a little bit of rich ready to go. Conserve a little bit of ERS, and that's really it. You just try to have to get a better exit. But the other place where it can be possible, I think, besides here, but is at the end of the Maggots and Beckett section before that hanger straight, or this is actually the hanger straight, the back straight. But let's see if he can make a move here. He's just not quite close enough. So it makes you wonder, is Monkey Pill on a lower downforce setup? Because you can see Orioles really closing in on him in the corners. But then
I remember one of the most important things for me whenever I was working on setup around Silverstone was the qualifying trim. Low downforce, try to get that pole position so that way you don't need higher downforce to
Right.
follow.
Right.
If you're in pole position, you have all the clean air.
You have the clear air. That's true, because when you're following a car, you have less downforce. And whatever effect that may be, some people say, well, it's a few tenths. Some people say, well, it's not that bad. It's just a tenth or two. Either way, you're losing out time.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, Suzuki. Exactly. So let's see. Man, the guys are so close in this battle for the lead. I kind of want to see what else is happening with the rest of the field, but I can't take my eyes off this battle for the lead.
Is so close.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, when you're within 5 tenths, that's just more than just striking distance.
Right. Here's the thing. So Monkey Bill had a big advantage in terms of the ERS, but if you look at his ERS now, the advantage is not quite so big. So now Monkey Bill is starting to feel the pressure. He's starting to feel the heat. He's deploying some of his ERS, and that's not going to be sustainable for the whole race. He's eventually, if he keeps pushing that, he's going to run out.
Yeah, right now Orioles, I've noticed he has been a little hot on the throttle coming out of turn 4 and 5. So he's causing a little oversteer, making him lose some time going into Brooklands.
He's pushing hard, huh?
Very.
Yeah. But you love to see it. Both of these guys going flat out, giving it everything to stay ahead or get ahead, and that's what it's all about. So, great battle here for the lead today.
Yeah, especially Monkey having to, maintain the mentality of consistency.
Yeah, because I know you said just focus on your race and look behind you, but that's easier said than done when you have someone breathing down your neck.
Especially within 4 tenths.
Exactly. Oh, and looks like Monkey Pill goes a little wide.
Does he have a chance going to Stowe? Oh, it's still just a little behind. It's the ERS deficit that we were talking about.
I think it's also, it looks like Monkey Pill's got a lower downforce setup. So here's the thing, Monkey Pill's on a wheel. Orioles is on a controller, and typically a controller user will use a little bit more wing just to keep that car glued a little bit more to the track, at least in my experience. Looks like
I completely agree with that.
Grumpy in the pits.
Looks like he's the first one to jump in.
So I wonder why he's jumping in so early. He's going in for the hards. He must have felt like he was losing time on the softs. So let's go back up. What's that?
What do you think will happen if there's a safety car for Grumpy? Do you think he would jump back in or stick to the hards and just gain track position?
Oh boy, that's a tough call. If there's a safety car, no. If there's a safety car, he stays out. He stays out, because if there's a safety car like right now, then everyone's going to jump onto the hards anyway. If there's a safety car in the next 4 laps, then maybe he goes back in for the mediums, because at that point the mediums would be quicker.
Right, that's where I think having the full track on my screen as a driver is really useful, because you can see,
exactly.
who else close and potential for incidents.
Exactly.
That's one of the things I really looked for during my races was,
it's really helpful.
Is there potential for incident?
It's really helpful for qualifying as well, when you can see someone coming from a sector or 2 away.
Oh, it's invaluable.
So let's see, this battle for the lead is not letting up, not even one bit. Monkey is jumping into the pits. Okay, so now this released Orioles, and Orioles now will have to put in the lap of a lifetime, and Monkey Pill gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits.
Oh, Cheesehead.
So does Cheesehead.
Yeah, it's finding the breaking point for pit lane is something that can be easily overlooked, I think. I've done it a fair share myself.
So he's basically given up the lead. I mean, well, now we'll have to get ahead and build up a 5-second lead.
Now it's really up to Orioles to be cognizant of that and not push too hard to where he risks, losing out in the race himself.
Right.
Or pushing too hard going into the pits and getting another 5 seconds.
So, party in the pits. Monkey Pill's in again. Cheesehead's in. Rusty's in. Sparkplug is in. Who else is in? JH is in.
It's like Grumpy really triggered something around here. What's everyone going on to? Mediums, hards?
Yeah, let's actually take a look. Looks like most people are on the medium. I think Monkey Pill must have seen that Grumpy pit for the hards, and he's covering him off with the pit stop right after, just in case with the hards. But then we have Orioles in the lead still.
Did Monkey just spin off?
I don't know. Did he? He did. He did. Oh wow! So you can see some of that debris and whatnot on the tires.
Yeah, I think it was the frustration from the 5-second penalty You know, knowing he had to push, compounded with the cold, hard tires.
So now he's behind Grumpy, and Cheeseheads, and Rusty, and Sparkplugs. He's got to fight his way back. Yeah, he's got to fight his way back through the pack. So Spoolin is in the pits. Orioles is doing another lap. So yeah, I think Orioles will pit on lap 12.
Yeah,
or this lap.
Pace in him. I think he knew he had some pace in him whenever he was following the monkey. So now he's just trying to pump out as fast of lap times as he can, try to really make that overcut work.
So let's see, Spoolin in the pits, Vapor in the pits, Gainful in the pits, Roman numerals in the pits. So then behind him, I think TESD will need to pit. But he's still going, he's on the mediums, on the counter strategy.
Now I'm really interested to see what happens between Spoolin and Grumpy, since you know, they've been battling throughout this whole race now, and now they have a tire delta difference now.
Yeah,
Spoolin on the mediums.
I think the hards are not too bad around here, though. Especially considering how much they're a thicker compound, so they're gonna hold. If you push too hard on the softer mediums in one lap, if you push really hard in sectors 1 and 2, then maybe they kind of die out with like all the heat in them in like Maggots and Beckett's, and you lose a little bit of time in the last sector. So the hard tires will have more resistance to that, I think. So I think like the mediums are faster, but I don't think the difference is quite as big.
Right, very fair, and I think it's all about getting the hards right into that window where you can make it through, you know, Maggots and Beckett's at optimal speed without losing time.
But you can see Grumpy there just went a little wide on the exit of Maggot and Beckett, so can Spoolin get ahead here? I think he's going to be a little too far back.
Now I noticed Spoolin's actually didn't use his ERS on that last straight. I mean, to me that says that he's really playing a long game, just trying to decide where. He makes a move.
He tries to make a move. Grumpy saw him, leaves him the room. Oh, and unfortunately, just much better traction. Yeah.
Right, the traction from the medians is coming out of the last corner.
And that's where the medium tires really went out. Whenever you need to apply a lot of power very quickly.
It's the exits.
Yep.
It reminds me of France, my very first race with PRL. You know, after it was raining for half the race, and I went onto the softs. Whereas Cheeseheads also makes it past Grumpy.
Yep, saw that one here. But what happened in that one?
My softs were really degrading, and JC, I was really battling hard with JC. He was on mediums. But the only way I was able to survive, I think it was you that brought up the point, the way I was able to defend and maintain position for so long was because of the exits. You know, on that soft compound, you're just able to get so much more traction.
Right. So Cheesehead's picking up a time penalty. Man, how many penalties do the guys have?
14.
Cheeseheads has got 14 seconds of time penalties, so he's having a tough day with the track limits. TSD with 3, Rusty with 3, Monkey Pill with 8, JH with 6, Gainful with 3.
You know, one thing that really impressed me about Orioles, since we're talking about penalties and track limits, is that following in dirty air, I found, in my personal experience, it's really easy to, you know, go a little too wide and get, you know, warnings and penalties. And so really hats off to him for, you know, sticking it behind Monkey and not getting a penalty so far.
Yeah, and he's right now stuck behind the car of Gowie, and Gowie's just going long, so I mean, he's not much he can do. He's just trying to do his race, but Gowie's got wing damage as well, so this is slowing down Orioles. Orioles has got to be a little careful here with the overtake, but it should be easily done with the DRS, and there he goes.
Right there.
So nicely done from Orioles. Patient, waiting for the right opportunities, and now he's released into P1.
Yeah, speaking of patience, I think Grumpy right now is just the poster child of patience. He's just following. He's not overdriving. He's just letting the you know, Cheeseheads and Spoolin really waste their mediums. You know, so that way in the final laps of the race, I'm expecting Grumpy to make great ground on those two.
I think if the guys battle too hard ahead of him, Spoolin and Cheeseheads, I think Grumpy can sneak by with better tire life in the end for a potential podium.
100%. Let's see, Monkey Pill's starting to gain ground on Sparkplug as he makes his way back to the field.
Yeah, let's check in with Monkey Pill in the back of the car of Sparkplug. Yeah, Bass is up in the chat saying, how did Cheeseheads get 14 seconds? I'm not sure exactly, Bass.
I think he had a 5-second pit lane speeding penalty.
Something like that. And yeah,
So that
and track limits.
3 track limit penalties plus a 5-second speeding the pit lane would amount to, was it 14?
So Monkey Pill still about 4 tenths back or so. No, it looks like 7 tenths back. And Sparkplugs is actually catching the back of TESD. TESD is going very long in this first stint.
Oh, Sparkplug's doing a great job setting up for the exit.
Yeah, almost had a switchback going, but TSD puts the power down very well. He should be able to get by with the DRS, but it's going to be kind of close. I don't think he's going to be close enough.
It looks like the Renaults are running lower downforce around here because I noticed Monkey gains great ground on the straights, and TESD is able to. Oh, Sparkplug's coming in around.
Nice move. Oh, and Cheesehead spun.
Oh,
he spun on the exit of left field.
That's what happens whenever you push really hard trying to fight the position. Yeah.
So what's happened here then? Now we've got Orioles P1, Spoolin P2, and Grumpy P3. Oh, and TESD getting a little bit out of shape there. Maggots and Beckett's. He backs off. He lets the teammate through.
Not to say Rusty's running an extraordinary race. You know, jumping the positions at the first lap, and he's maintained.
Yeah, Rusty's been doing a great job. Rusty's one of these guys who I've been going on and on about, but he's improved tremendously since he first started with us. He's currently in P4. He's one of these guys that I think can get consistent top 5 finishes if he keeps it incident-free, and he's done a great job to do that today.
100%. I think he's one of the hardest workers in the league. You know, he's always running his practice sessions, even with Premier League and Tier 1 guys. Oh, we have a full-on safety car.
And Cheeseheads is...
he retires.
So, what happened to Cheeseheads?
I'm not quite sure. It looks like it was at the pit lane entrance, if we can get a camera up there.
Yeah, the car's already... He crashed into the barrier, but why would he crash into the pit lane entrance?
Unsure. But it looks like I think Gainful Odds is hopping into the pits. He's going to try to capitalize on the safety car.
Yeah, so he's jumping in. I wonder what he's jumping to though. Mediums, okay.
That's another set of mediums.
Does anyone else pit? I think you can easily go to some softs here.
I think so. They would definitely make it to the end. I think right now the front runners are just scared of losing out on track position.
Not Orioles. Orioles jumping in.
Oh, as I eat my words, it's Bullen and Austin too.
I think it's worth it for the soft. Yeah, I think it's worth it for the soft tires. What does Rusty do? Rusty stays out. Sparkplug stays out. Monkey Pill jumps in.
Yeah, it looks like Rusty and Sparkplugs are really trying to maximize on the track position, which I think is very smart.
So here's the thing. Once they finish this lap, they'll have 10 more laps to go, but surely there'll still be another lap of safety car after that. So realistically, if you jump in for the hard tires now, even if it's like 11 laps that you need to do, by the time the green flag starts waving, it's only like 9 laps. And if the original strategy was like 11, 12 laps off, the rest medium, if you can do that at the beginning of the race, then surely you can do it at the end.
Oh, and TESD getting held up in the pits because of double stacking.
Yeah, that's tough, but he's got to get in there now, right? So.
Right. Speaking of double stacking, it reminds me of Singapore last season with my teammate Nero at the time. As the rain started coming down, I think we were around towards the end of the race, around lap 20. It was becoming imperative to pit for the intermediates, and it had reached a point in which I had to pit. And he was running in second, and he had no choice at the time. His line of thinking was that he had no choice, and he had to make another lap around on the hards.
Oh,
in
man.
the rain. And so he really lost out.
Yeah, and when it rains and you need to come in to change the tires, you doing one extra lap could mean the difference between, moving ahead of a lot of people due to the pitting at the right time, or losing a lot of ground, because if it becomes too wet for the dries, next thing you know, you're slipping and sliding around. You can't even put the power down.
Right. And I think in that instance, he ended up spinning it at one point during that in lap. It's just so
Jeez.
unfortunate. He's running in P2, but by nature of the double stack, he was scared of losing out too much time.
Right.
And rain coming down. It's just really unfortunate.
So, what's the status of the race so far? Late safety car, so that means the people who opted to stay out for track position are in the lead. We got Rusty in the lead, P1. Sparkplugs in the lead, in second, in P2. We got Orioles in third, Spoolin in fourth, Grumpy fifth, Hot Boy sixth, Gowie seventh. This has been a nice recovery actually for Gowie, because Gowie's running around with a broken wing, and now he finds himself on brand new softs and a new wing and in seventh.
Yeah, he's made up 8 positions so far since the start of the race.
Yeah, I think he's in a great spot. But I think, I wonder then, can Rusty and Sparkplug do something here to extend the life of those mediums, to do something to try to fight against these soft tires? But it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I think that's where you're going to have to be really pragmatic and realistic as to who you're racing and
right.
trying to maximize on your own position in the race.
Right.
They have to know that it'll be really difficult to, fight with the front runners who are on fresh softs.
Right.
And so they don't want to battle too hard, where they themselves lose out on this great strategy,
right.
This great race that they're running.
Yeah, because they are doing a tremendous job here today. If I'm Rusty, I'd probably let Orioles and Spoolin by, or at least one of them by, and just try to stay in that DRS to stay with them.
Yeah, and I think, if I were Rusty as well, coming out of the safety car restart, just as spark plugs deal with the soft runners.
That's true. Actually push hard. He holds them. Yeah, let them hold each other off. Right. So a lot of strategy, I'm sure, going on in the minds of all the drivers in terms of how can I get ahead, or if I am ahead, how can I stay ahead?
And I think right now, Rusty and Sparkplugs have the oldest tires out on track right now.
They do. They're both 6 laps old, but when they finish this lap, that'll be 7 lap old mediums. So they're probably around...
just about 15. They're going to be ending about 15 laps, I think.
Yeah, I think at the moment their tires are probably somewhere between 20-30% worn. Probably closer to 25-30.
I would imagine so, around there.
So they're not going to have the best grip. Yeah, they're not going to have the best grip, so...
That's where you're just going to have to lay down consistent, good, solid, consistent laps. You can't over-push it. You're trying to extend the life of these tires.
That, and just get really solid exits out of all the, after the heavy braking areas.
Yeah, so again, if I were Rusty, it would be about preserving my own tires.
Right.
And let Sparkplugs try to make up that gap, try to maintain, especially going through all these fast, sweeping corners, and let him waste his tires.
Exactly. I think, I wonder then what position Rusty and Sparkplugs will be fighting for. I guess we'll have to see, because technically they still have every chance to win, right? So
100%.
Yeah, technically, yeah. So even if I think they may start falling behind the soft runners, but we'll see.
And who knows, maybe, let's say, incident off the restart, another safety car comes out.
Right, and then maybe they can jump in for the softs.
Yeah, then they're really looking pretty.
Yeah. Alright, so I would imagine that the safety car will be in this lap. And when we finish this lap, we'll have 8 more laps to go. So it's looking like it'll be an 8-lap shootout at the end. We got Rusty in P1, who pit earlier for the medium tires. There was a late stage safety car that we're in now, and Rusty and Sparkplugs decided to stay out and not pit for the softs. But who did pit for the softs? Orioles behind him, Spoolin behind him, Grumpy behind him. Hot Boy pit for the mediums a few laps ago, so he did not pit under the safety car. Same thing with Gowan, but Gowan did pit. Then we got Monkey Pill behind them, JH, TESD, Roman numerals, Vapor, Gainful in 13th, Joe 14th, and U-Tops in 15th. 2 DNFs for the day, Cheeseheads and Spitcheck, unfortunately. So tough day for those two. But I imagine we'll be racing here momentarily.
So if you were Grumpy, you know, you were running P2, now you've lost out to Spool and Orioles. What are you thinking?
Just, you can't think too much. You just gotta, I'm where I'm at, and I need to fight hard with the car ahead of me, and just one car at a time.
One car at a time, I like it.
One
and I
car at a
believe Race
time.
Control said a safety car in this lap.
Yep, so there's the word from Race Control. Rusty backing off. So the experience showing there. And they're about to get back to green flag. And they're off.
It's taking it easy, and he's off. Yeah.
Yep. Orioles already making his way past.
Oh,
And Sparkplugs and Orioles.
Slight
Orioles
contact.
spun. Orioles
Just like we talked
spun.
about.
Yeah.
Right through a fast corner like Abbey. One slight tap. That's all it takes.
I think that's just a racing incident, sadly.
Oh man. You know, he will be trying to make up as many places as possible off the restart, especially on the softs.
I mean, I could see you definitely want to go for it, but the car on the outside also has the right to try to make the corner too. That's tough. That's tough. I'm sure the stewards will review, but for now, that's Rusty and Sparkplugs P1 and P2. And Gameful Odds gets disqualified for some reason. I think he must have spun. So Grumpy already ahead of... No, Grumpy's ahead of Gowie, but he still needs to try to get past Spoolin.
Wow, Grumpy apexing really beautifully through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel.
Yeah, but behind him, Gowie's also taking the corners really nicely indeed.
Oh, that's going to be one heck of an end.
Yeah, it is.
The top two are still maintaining. You can tell Sparkplugs has been defending and looking behind because he's lost some time.
But this is all working out very nicely for Rusty.
Oh, so beautifully. If I were Rusty, I'd be very happy.
But Rusty
Now it's
knows
just about maintaining that consistency.
he needs to push right now. He needs to build a big gap because I think at some point, Spool and Grumpy and Gowie are probably going to make their way past Sparkplug.
Oh, Sparkplugs goes slightly wide. Oh, and
Sparkplugs didn't exactly leave a whole lot of room there, but hard to say what happened there. But yes, Spoolin has to take evasive action.
He's losing out to his teammate on Brooklyn's. He's already lost it to Grumpy. Grumpy's gaining on Sparkplugs. Wow.
Really nice.
Adam saying in the comments, yeah, Grumpy has a penalty, so
he does.
He's really trying to make up ground.
So Gowie staying ahead of Spoolin. Great battle for fourth at the moment.
And two Red Bulls duking it out. When was the last time we saw this?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Let's see what Monkey can do as he makes it goes through Maggots and Beckett's following within half a second of Spoolin.
Yep. He's closing. But he's on those medium tires. You can see he starts to fall back when they put the power down. Grumpy trying to move around the outside.
Keeping it clean. Let's see who breaks later.
Oh, but Sparkplug's putting up a good fight.
Oh, that was great.
Great fighting.
Rusty, I'm really happy because you can lose so much time battling it out.
And they did. They lost almost half a second there alone.
Oh, Spoolin picks up the 3-second time penalty. Oh, Gowie's really eyeing this 3 wide. Oh, and he pushed it a little too hard, right on the margins.
And Gowie's lost out. Gowie's forced a 3 wide situation and lost out. That's unfortunate, but I could have told you that one ahead of time. Let's see.
Wow, yeah, the front two, Rusty Sparkplugs on those old mediums really holding it in well, I have to say, against these fresh soft runners.
Yeah, and I think Grumpy would have had the move done if it wasn't for Gowie throwing it up the inside, forcing the 3 wide situation, because then Grumpy had to just stay in the middle and try not to move too much. And yeah, he was compromised.
I think I have to agree with you there. Yeah.
So he won't be too happy about that, but
now just about keeping the head down and you know, pushing back forward.
Yeah, but Sparkplugs getting really feisty on the defense, but he's staying ahead.
And say it was those moments where, I forced, improbable moves and had my own incidents that really taught me how to, how to be situational, when to overtake, when to make the move,
Right.
when to be patient.
And Roman numerals is lagging really bad, so I don't know what's going on with this connection. But let's check in with the top cars again. We got Monkey Pills now closing on Spoolin.
Well, as Sparkplugs, I forget, Rusty right now has a 3-second time penalty himself, so Sparkplug must also just be concerned with, as long as he's within the 3-second gap, he'll be okay.
Yeah, you're right, it's possible. Now, if Grumpy can get by Sparkplug will start to fall back. And then it's possible that Rusty takes the win due to Sparkplug's falling back behind 3 seconds. So
wow.
Yeah,
that's a very, very interesting situation because Rusty right now, as he's leading, he's hoping for the time loss between Sparkplugs and so that way he doesn't lose out in the win.
Exactly.
Sparkplugs himself, with Grumpy, Spoolin, and Monkey all having time penalties,
he's benefiting.
He's going to benefit quite a bit, I think. Oh, Grumpy gets a great exit coming out of Chapel.
And then Monkey Pill and Spoolin having a great fight. I think this is Grumpy passed. Yeah, he's passed.
This is Grumpy passed. Beautiful patience. It's just speaks to his experience.
So now Grumpy has 4 laps to get past and build a 3-second gap to Sparkplug. And he has to get past. And he has to get past Rusty as well.
Wow, Sparkplugs, I would be getting really nervous just trying to be thinking about the penalties. Where will I have to end up to win potentially?
So this is turning out to be very interesting race indeed, because we've got Rusty, who has just been on phenomenal form, and it turns out that maybe he did make the right strategy call, staying out, track position.
Yeah, it's seeming like Rusty and Sparkplugs made a great call, staying out.
Now, can Sparkplug stay ahead though? He's about 3 seconds ahead of Spoolin.
Yeah, Spoolin and Monkey are still duking it out with Roman right behind him. Oh, and JH makes the move right into cops.
Yeah, nice move from JH. Well, Roman is disconnected, so now it's just an invisible AI car.
So the battle for 4th is really going to heat up. And let's wonder what the penalties are right now.
So we got him up 3 seconds for Rusty, 3 seconds for Grumpy, 3 for Spoolin, 3 for Monkey, 9 for JH, 6 for Orioles, 3 for Vapor, 6 for TESD, and 3 for UTOPS.
So I'm switch the gap over to the leader.
And the guys have got to push harder than this, because as it stands, I believe Sparkplugs will have the win. Yeah.
Is where Sparkplugs just really needs to be aware of that. Just, be patient. Put in those consistent laps that we keep talking about.
Exactly. So let's actually pull up the leader interval. So you can see behind the leader, Sparkplug is 1.5 back. As it stands with the 3-second penalties of Rusty and Grumpy, that would mean that Sparkplugs would inherit P1. So the guys in first and second have to push really, really hard. Suzuki saying that there was some sliding going on for Grumpy. Yeah, Grumpy, he's pushing really hard on the soft tires.
And he knows he has to make up the ground, and I think Rusty's doing such a phenomenal job on those old mediums.
He really is.
Maintaining position, putting in those laps,
All that practice, it's showing. But Grumpy getting really, really great through the section of the Maggots and Beckets, and now he's gaining a lot of ground. Is he going to make a move?
Right around the outside, Rusty's holding.
Yeah, but nice driving from both of them. Really nice racing.
Yeah, I think Grumpy sees that Rusty's low on ERS, and so he really tries to maximize on the straights.
Yeah. So Sparkplugs is falling back a little bit. He's 1.5 back.
And with Spoolin 1.4 behind him, Sparkplugs really just has to be...
Oh, but Sparkplugs is getting a little wonky there. Now he's 2.3 back.
You can't let something like that shake you. You just have to keep looking forward.
But that's telling me that his tires are starting to go.
Yeah, this is where driving style. Normally, whenever as my tires start to go, I really try to increase the differential, short shift more to get that traction.
Right. Wow. So what is going to happen here? Is Rusty going to win? Is Grumpy going to get by, and is he going to take the win? Or is Sparkplug's going to stay close enough behind, not get any further penalties, and is he going to take the win?
Now, it's funny because, earlier during the safety car, we were talking about how Rusty, how if I were Rusty, that I would just let Sparkplugs deal with the fresh soft runners and hope that he loses time. But now, because of by nature of the penalties, if I'm Sparkplugs, I'm hoping Rusty loses time to defend against Grumpy.
But that's the beauty of it, right? Racing is so unpredictable. Who would have been able to tell this was going to happen?
I mean, Rusty gaining 10 places, it's amazing.
So if Rusty picks up the pace here, he can take the win because now Sparkplugs is 2.9. And Spooling, if he gets past, is Spooling going to be able to get past?
Oh, they're going to lose so much time coming through Vale. Aggressive defending by Sparkplugs.
Yeah, I think Sparkplugs closed the door on Spooling when he should have left the door open, but I'm sure that'll be discussed after the race. For now, both cars will continue, no damage.
This is the last lap, and Sparkplugs is just right outside of the win by 3 tenths right now.
So what it's looking like then is it's going to be, for P1 and P2, it's going to be the on-track battle that will determine. So Rusty is just about out of ERS. I think, Grumpy can see that. He's saving a little bit for the straight for the next one.
I'm on the edge of my seat on this one.
I am as well too.
Right now.
What is going to happen? Can Rusty take his first ever win in Performance Racing League Tier 2? Can Grumpy make a statement to build up his lead in the championship? Can Sparkplug find a few tenths and get closer to snatch the win away, winning what would be his first win? Here comes Grumpy to make a move.
Coming around the outside. Oh, he has so much more straight line speed right now.
And he's passed.
Rusty's falling.
He's passed.
Is Rusty going to make a move going to Vale?
I'm sure he's going to try it.
Oh, and he launches it right up the inside.
Oh,
closes the door hard.
Oh!
And Grumpy just barely makes it across the line. That was
oh my god. I was like at a loss for words. So, but Sparkplugs then takes the win because the guys lost time to each other.
They're battling it out in the final sector.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't sure how the old mediums would work out, and they just held it in there.
Wow. So that's Sparkplug with the win, thanks to the guys battling too hard.
Wow. Well, right when we thought Sparkplugs had lost out because of his own battle with Spooling.
F in the chat for Rusty, guys. F in the chat for Grumpy.
So much happened right there in like the final 10 seconds.
I'm still in shock. I don't think I've ever seen a race that close.
Now if the start-finish line was, 150 meters further, I think Grumpy would have just DNF'd right there. Because ultimately,
it's possible because he went right into the wall. Wow. Oh man, F in the chat, guys. But I wonder then, is that something that the stewards will review? Will they make a ruling? Will there be penalties? I think Rusty tried to make a move down the inside of that last chicane. He outbraked himself.
All right, certainly ambitious, always trying to go in, launch it up the inside, what he knew to be the win on the line. But
I wonder then if Grumpy didn't see that, because if I see someone outbrake themselves, I wait on the outside, I let them go into the grass on their own, and then
switch back.
Switch back, but then the Grumpy probably had already committed to the corner. He turned in, and then it was Rusty there, and he went wide, and they forced both of them wide, and then it was like mayhem of them trying to get around the next right turn bit to get back to the start-finish line, but they were just like hooked together, losing a ton of time, and because of that, Sparkplugs found just a few tenths that he needed.
Right, but last lap incidents aside, let's just talk about how great of a race Rusty and Sparkplug ran. Just keeping with the one stop through the safety car, keeping in there with the mediums. I mean, with the initial position gains in the first opening laps, I mean, it was just extraordinary work.
I agree. I think they did it, and the choice that they made, even we were questioning it. I was questioning it, and it turned out that it's something that they were able to make work. And I'm sure they were suffering with the tire wear, but it was a very brave choice.
Right. I wonder, whenever I was racing full time, I always looked forward to Tier 2 races to help inform my own strategy for the Sunday. It's like, well, if they were able to make those tires last, even with the fresh soft runners, maybe it'll influence some strategy calls tomorrow.
Yeah, I think this is only confirmed really that it's that a soft to medium strategy. I think it's confirmed that those medium tires are a lot quicker than those hard tires.
I think the mediums are just so well balanced around here. I mean, I guess if it were my guess, it was that the softs were really dying at the end, and so they were around the same delta as the mediums. Whereas the mediums, you could keep the consistent lap times, and you lose less life towards the end of the race.
And they last well enough, I think, to be a good race tire. Anyway, listen to us go on and on and on. If you were tuned in, thank you for tuning in, guys. Tier 2, round 12, British GP. I've been joined by Razor, so thank you, Razor, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great having you. Thank you, everyone else, then, for tuning in, and take care.